the project now for the last part of the semester, which is essentially a video, which I think most of you will enjoy. It is called the Cyber Incident Management Presentation. And essentially what that is all about is there are many breaches and cyber incidences that have happened within the last 10 to 15 years, notable, very high profile breaches, such as the one that happened in the state about 7 or 8 years ago. But you also have the Target fiasco, where they were scammers from Russia were skimming credit card numbers from the point of sale terminals and Targets. So there are those types of breaches and those types of activities, cyber attacks, if you will, that collected information on individuals and used that information against them, either through some type of identity theft or just using the credit cards somewhere else, or reproducing the credit cards based on the swipe information. So those are some examples of a previous attack, and what you'll do is research current activities, and I'll go over the actual requirements of the assignment, but you're going to research an old attack like the Walmart attack or the Sony attack or the one from the South Carolina government, and you're going to apply incident management principles to that attack, because that's what we're reading about now is the cyber incidents that happened in IVK. So I want you to relate what's going on with IVK with incident response management, because that's where many businesses fail in terms of an ethical dilemma. They're putting profits over informing their customers about what happened with their data. They don't want to lose customers, so they don't want to tell them that, hey, your data was potentially taken. And so that is the incident response management that I'm talking about, and the ethics of that. So that is what we will discuss and research and create a little video about as an exhibit for the rest of the course. And you'll do that in several iterations. You'll produce a video, and I and others, because you'll post it on the forum, will make comments on it, and we'll grade it, and then you can repost it for a better grade until you get a good exhibit. So let's talk a little bit about, first, do you understand the premise, right? You understand you're going to take a previous case, previous incident, and you're going to look at it through the lens of incident management response. How well did they respond to it? Did they tell their customers right away, or did they wait? What was their process? Was their process? And you want to look at that incident through the lens of the requirements I'm about to show you. And let's see, we'll pull this up. Everybody can see that, I'm hoping. So the deliverable will be a 10 to 30 minute video that identifies a prior cyber attack or breach in an organization and how that organization managed it. The student will offer a proposed solution in terms of cyber incident management principles and methods. And I'm going to give you those, don't worry, because I know you haven't been exposed to much of this unless you've taken a cyber security course, either through computer science or I think we offer one in our technical electives. If you've taken those, then it'll be a little bit easier for you. If you haven't, then it's fine. I'm going to lead you through it through several iterations of doing the video. So the purpose is, after completing the exercise, the student should be able to demonstrate an understanding of key elements of incident response planning. That's after an incident has happened, how the company dealt with it, and how they should have dealt with it, and how you think they should have dealt with it. The purpose of the artifact is to expose students to common cybersecurity terms and policies that make an incident response plan possible. Okay, so you're going to learn along the way. Don't feel like you have to know everything before you start this. You're going to do some research. This is a 450 or 400 level course where we're expecting you to be able to do some research on your own now and be able to do some synthesizing and make some critical judgments and make statements to that end. So the tool that you use, the presentation tool, it does not matter. I don't care what you use to produce it. The only thing that I ask is that whatever you use, it can be uploaded to YouTube or be hosted wherever you host it. And there's a link involved. So whenever you click on the link, the video starts playing, and it works your way all the way through. It works the audience all the way through to the end of the video. That's it. I don't care particularly how it looks, other than it needs to look professional. It needs to look like someone who's at your level of expertise, at the 400 level. It should look good, but it doesn't have to be, of course, perfect. It doesn't have to be a $20,000 presentation. It just has to be just a simple presentation on what happened with the company and how they responded and how you think they should have responded. So how will you submit? You will submit via the URL. You'll submit the URL link to the Cyber Incident Management Video Presentation Forum. In the forum, you will submit the title of your presentation as well as the link. So in the forum name, you just put the link. I forgot to put that into this, but it just makes sense that you would post the name or the title of your presentation as the forum post heading. And then also you'll paste YouTube URL link into the text submission on the assignment, because I'm going to grade it one way and the students and your peers are going to assess it their way, and they're going to ask questions and so on, and give pointers and what have you. So that's what you'll turn in. You'll just turn in links. That's it. I want to see files. I want to see uploaded anything. I just want to see links, and I need to be able to access the links. If I can't access the link, you just get a 0 until you give me a link that works. Okay. And if you need help, of course, that's why I'm here, and I can help you work out some of those kinks. Don't pay for anything. Don't use a service where you have to pay for something. Okay. I don't require you to pay for anything. There are lots of free ones like Prezi out there. There are a bunch of different services, and you can still use PowerPoint or anything along those lines. If you use PowerPoint, make a video out of it, then you can upload that video to YouTube, which is free. And you can just use the YouTube link as your link to post the submission, both in the forum as well as in the assignment. I think when students did this last semester, they did one or the other, and I can't grade the same way in the forum that I can in an assignment. It is different. I can't attach the rubric, which I'm getting ready to go over. I can't attach it to a forum post, but I can attach it to a regular assignment, which is why I have you do it both ways. All right, so the grading rubric. How will I grade you? Well, I'll grade on formatting, but I don't care about colors and fonts. You can use any scheme you want, as long as there's proper contrast for people who are colorblind, and for other students who may have some type of vision deficiency. Make sure there's contrast. So letters, black on white is proper contrast. Don't put a brown lettering on red background, right? That, right? Especially somebody like me who is colorblind. Those are very difficult things to see. So I'm looking for contrast more than I am looking for pretty little flowers or whatever you want to put on it. I don't care. I don't care about that. Those particular design elements, I care about it. I mean, it needs to look good, but I'm not going to grade you on how well it looks. I'm going to grade you on how well I can read it and understand what you're trying to present. So formatting, organization, the video has clear beginning, middle, and end that fits within the allowed time limits, and features an introduction, methods, results, conclusion, and is easy to follow, right? And we'll talk about those sections, introduction, methods, results, and conclusion. The main findings and their relevance are well expressed well. So you want to develop that. What I mean by the main findings, that's going to be the action at the very end. These are just some basic guidelines to proper presentation formatting. And of course, grammar and language. I don't need to go into detail on that. There needs to be, this is where the really important stuff starts. There needs to be a greeting. You need to put your name and the title of the video. You need to have next your problem statement about the organization. And let's see here. Yeah, it needs to be about the organization. English is professional, business oriented, grammatically correct, and scientific terms. The cyber incident that occurred, the problem or incident that is introduced with justification of relevance. Okay, so you need to tell us why this incident. You can't just talk about, your own personal, where your bank account was hacked into, or somebody stole something from your stole your bank information, your checks, and what have you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something, a business, an enterprise that was attacked, and how you can apply the cyber incident management, or cyber incident plan management plan. And see your solution. Let's see here. The problem statement, the solution. Solution includes a well-defined incident response plan, team, and tools. So I'll see all three of those present in major sections of the video. So you want to talk about a response plan, you want to talk about a response team, and you want to talk about the tools that team used. Using research and cited cyber incident management principles and methods, see the detail below, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, there is a value proposition involved in every cyber incident, every cyber incident. You have to talk about the money. You have to talk about the impact that incident had on the organization. And you'll find that in the research. In all these stories, they're going to talk about how much money the company lost or potentially lost. And that will convert itself into value that IT has to the organization in preventing these things from happening, right? So you need to show that value proposition that IT has, and how a CIO must implement some type of incident plan should an actual incident happen. What is it going to cost the company if this happens? And what is it going to cost if the company withholds said incident from its customers or its clients or its participants? Okay, so that's the value proposition. We need to talk about it in terms of dollars. We need to talk about it in terms of time. It's going to take some time to do this. Don't think you're going to do this in 30 minutes and be done. Okay, I'm going to grill you. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about your videos and how you can make them better. And hopefully you can use this as some kind of future exhibit for a future project or whatever, maybe in senior seminar or whatever. So this will make a good start to something like that if you're considering cyber as your research goal in 499. If you've already started 499, well, that's moot at this point. But those who haven't, the value proposition is a great way to show your understanding of the cyber security principles and why cybersecurity departments exist in corporations now. And then finally, the call to action. What was done against what should be done. And that should look like, and it should be done in terms of the value proposition, like start a plan, define a team, develop tools. It's going to cost so much money. It's going to cost the company so much money if they have this problem. It's going to cost this company so much money if an event occurs and they withhold the information and so on. So this is what we would save by starting this plan, defining a team, developing these tools. And this is what these tools will potentially cost. Okay. Consider what the plan would look like. Consider research other plans, tie the details to this incident. If it is a breach, how does the plan deal with a breach as opposed to a denial of service, DOS attack? What about informing stakeholders and customers? How are ethics and obligations involved with this plan of action? Because again, the great canceller, if you will, of ethics is money, right? A lot of people put value over or money over the ethical thing to do because there might be in their mind more at stake, and it's a huge bone of contention even now in corporations. That's why you see cyber security programs such as the one at Upstate. That's why they exist now, because these things are very important to companies and how you deal, not just prevent them, but also that one day it's inevitable. These systems can be hacked. If they're digital systems, if they're binary based systems, they're going to be hacked. Bottom line, there's nothing you can do about it. And well, there's only so much you can do. There's something you can do about it, but there's only so much you can do about it. There's only so much money before the return on investment just kind of goes away. So you could spend every bit of money in the organization on security, but then you wouldn't be making any money, right? So there's the threshold. And we talked about that 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there's a little chart that we talked about where there's a certain amount of money you could spend versus the amount of money that is the attack's going to cost. And so here are the key elements that I'm going to look for in each section. The incident response plan itself. You can look up examples that apply to your situation. So you're just going to research cyber incident plans. I'm not going to give you any, because there are just so many out there that you can look at. And the whole point of this is for you to research them and to understand how they work and how they might apply. So you might look at 2 or 3 before you find one that kind of fits the cyber incident you're working with. Most of them are going to be similar, so don't fret too much about that. Triage incidents to determine the severity to the organization, mitigate a threat to prevent future damage. This is what these elements are going to be as part of that plan. Eradicate the threat by eliminating the root cause. So if the potential root cause is somebody walking in with a USB stick and stealing data out of your computers, well, then that is something you look into as a root cause. You may not want to have people bring in USB sticks to plug into computers and steal data. Restoring production systems, post-mortem, and action items to prevent future attacks. So these are the things that I'm going to be looking for in terms of you analyzing the situation that happened, the breach or what have you, the historical incident, and then how they should do it now. So these things should, if they weren't present in the incident you researched, then you need to state that, well, this wasn't there, and this is why the attack was so severe and why they lost so much money, blah, blah, blah. So the incident plan itself has those elements. I'm going to stop there. Any questions so far? Because I know I tend to just blow right through this stuff. So, okay. All right, so the incident response teams, you have the plan itself, and then you have the people who are going to carry out that plan. So look at potential organizational chart and or job roles in cybersecurity to apply to your solution. So what kind of jobs would be necessary to fill out that team that would carry out that incident response plan? You're going to have a staff that's going to do that. You're going to have, even if they're not dedicated to that role, you might have people in different departments that could serve on that role or that committee. When an incident happens, they are activated, and their job at that point is to deal with the incident response. And then after it's dealt with, then go back to their daily lives or daily job duties. Okay, so the incident response team should have the following aspects: incident response managers, security analysts, or these are just some of the job roles that you would need to look at: IT and security engineers, threat researchers, legal and risk management professionals, corporate, and they don't have to be professionals. They can also be hired in as a contractor as well, like insurance, corporate communications, human resources management, external security forensics experts. So these are all, you don't have to use all of these, you just have, these are examples, right? But I need to see some of them, at least 3 or 4, because that's how many you're going to need, at least initially, for any size organization. And then you have incident response tools. Then again, you need to research the tools in these areas: security, information, and event management. So it collects data and logs from applications, infrastructure, network security tools, just any kind of information, appliance, or technology where customer information, proprietary information about the enterprise, all of that. There are tools out there. What are those tools? Give me examples of those tools. Were those type of tools evident, or were they around at the time the original incident took place? If they weren't, then say that. If they were, then why weren't they used? You may not be able to answer those questions, but at least point out the fact that you looked at that aspect of tools and whether or not they were present to help in that scenario, that incident. Endpoint detection and response. They are essentially the little gateway, like semantic endpoint protection. There's not just antivirus; it's also endpoint protection. That's why they call it that. It's about what users are doing and intercepting what users are doing that may get you into trouble, like clicking on a link in an email. You may want to disable links in emails, right? So endpoint detection and response. That's antivirus, anti-malware, any type of tool that would be used to prevent a bad actor from integrating their stuff into your system. And then network traffic analysis. This is done on your network hardware, either on your routers, switches, what have you, through your internet provider. You can hire someone and so on. So network traffic analysis, you can pay someone to do it, however you want to show that. This is what needs to be part of your plan. Okay, so those are just some examples, just kind of getting you kind of oriented on what should be in. I'm not expecting everybody's to be perfect. It doesn't have to have all, I mean, it doesn't have to be real exhaustive because it's only a 10 to 15 minute video, but you'll find out quickly that you did all this work and you have 5 minutes of video. And so that's when you do a little bit more research, add more, and so on. So when you're done with that, again, I put the submission checklist there, so you know to do those two things for me. So it'll save you a little bit of grief. Make sure you get that YouTube link or the link from whatever service. It doesn't have to be YouTube, okay? Just to be sure, or just to be clear, it does not have to be YouTube. It can be, if it's Prezi, you can just use the link for Prezi. Just make sure it's public, it's been published, and that when someone like me who doesn't have access to your account can see it. And that's all that matters. And then paste the YouTube link or whatever tool link into the text submission field on the assignment. You don't need to give me the name because the name should be in. I don't need to know the name of the video because I'm going to see it in the video. But I do want the name in the forum, because that way someone, if they're interested in a certain aspect, they can look at your video and identify it as something that they want to drill into. So that's why I want your title of your presentation and the title of your post on your forum.